Welcome to Diaries of a Healing Latina. This is a safe space where we talk about the parts of healing that no one really prepares us for. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the red flags. And why am I talking about red flags? Last weekend, I was actually talking to my family and we were talking about our patterns of dating and the type of people that we date and what we look for in a person and basically everything about dating. And then we got to the topic of what we consider a red flag. And that was a conversation that made me realize that a lot of us actually have different representations of what a red flag is. What a red flag is to me, it might not be to you, and that's completely fine. But I'm the type of person, and every time I say this, I get called crazy. I'm looked at like I'm on something, but I usually cut men off right after the first date. I cut men off right after the first date. Judge me? Go ahead. Go ahead. When my family and I were having this conversation last weekend, and I told them that I cut men off after the first date, they all were trying to justify why I should give that person a second chance or a second date with me because maybe I'm just trying to pinpoint something wrong with them and just trying to cut them off, or maybe I'm just guarding myself and I'm not allowing anyone to basically to love me correctly and blah 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 blah. No. I just sat there and I was like, okay. Once I started speaking on why I cut men off after the first date, everyone was silent and everyone agreed with me. Anyways, let's get to the red flags. By the way, I brought my iPad because there were a lot of things that I actually wrote down that I consider a red flag. Whatever my red flags are to me, they might not be to you, but I feel like most of the times they're pretty obvious and they apply to all of us. But here's my breakdown because I even made bullet points underneath my main points. These are the reasons why I will cut a man off right after the first date. There's no ifs, there's no buts, there's no second chances, there's no let's talk about it, because the longer you talk about it, the longer you give them a chance, the more attached you get to that person and the more hurt you get. So avoid trying to get hurt because you getting hurt is going to hurt you in the long run. You're actually not going to allow someone to love you properly because you have not loved yourself properly. You've allowed all of these dusty men to treat you horrible. And so you think that every single man is just like that one dusty man that you met back in 2020. The first red flag on a man that makes me cut them off is insecurity. If a man is insecure, they're truly undateable. I may be called inconsiderate, mean, selfish, rude, whatever, I don't care. If a man is insecure because he has crooked teeth or he has a gap, okay, big whoop. We'll get you braces, Invisalign, we'll fix that. Insecurity gone, okay? But if a man is truly insecure about himself, about his body, about his career, about his finances, about the other men that surround him or his friends, do not be with him. And it's vice versa with a woman. If a woman is insecure, they're undateable because they do not love themselves enough to love someone else. And that's the awful truth. Number one, an insecure person will make you question yourself. They will make you question your worth, your beauty, your intelligence, your existence. Because they will never give you the security that you are looking for. Even if it's just 1 second, especially for us women that we go through our time of the month. And those are the moments that we somewhat look for validation because we feel a little dumpy. We feel a little, I don't know, we feel like a booger. That's the best way I could explain it. And we look for that validation like, oh, like you look beautiful. You look stunning today. You're so perfect. You worked so hard this week. Easy. You won a woman over by just saying that, especially during her time of the month. But a man that's insecure will make you question yourself, especially during that time of the month. Number two, if you have a dream or if you have a goal, they will not help you succeed because they feel that if you succeed, you will leave them. you're going to cheat on them. You're going to find someone else better. Even though I feel like that's more of a man mentality than a woman. I feel like a woman will stay with a man if they help them succeed, because I feel like we're more generous in that way. We're more compassionate in that way. Men really aren't. We've all heard stories of men leaving women after they succeed. How many stories? A shit ton. Okay? Number 3. An insecure man will make everything a competition. They will make everything a competition. Perfect example, I was dating this guy. We both got a promotion around the same time. And I remember I called him and he answered and I told him I got promoted. And then he tells me, oh my God, I got promoted too. And I was like, oh my God, congratulations. I was so freaking happy for him. I was like, this is so crazy that we both got promoted at the same time. Like, we need to celebrate. God forbid I said that. Like, I don't even know why I said that, because that was like me saying, I'm better than you. This man did not want to celebrate with me. He wanted to celebrate with his friends. Completely understandable. But then he made it into a competition. Like, oh, whose job is better? What position pays better? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was just like, what? You're my partner. You're supposed to uplift me just like I uplift you. Like, this is not a one-way street. Like, why are we even competing, first off? Why would I want that? I need someone that's going to cheer me up just the same way that I am cheering them up. Not freaking compete with me. What the heck? And number 4, my favorite. An insecure man will always cheat. An insecure man will always cheat. Emphasis on the always. Emphasis on the always. Okay? Listen. Before you say anything, an insecure man will cheat? Like, not all insecure men will cheat. He'll stay home because he feels insecure about his body. No, girl. That's the man that probably has Tinder, Bumble, and Grindr. I'm laughing because I wish it were fake, but it's true. Every man that I've dated has always been insecure. And I always freaking decided to ignore their insecurities, because I was like, you know what? They'll love me. They care about me. They this, they that. But they always ended up cheating on me. Always. It never missed. It was like their vitamin. It was like the vitamin that they needed daily to feel energized. I don't know what it is with a man. They feel empowered if they have multiple women. Which, in a way, it's not really feeling empowered. Like, I don't even know why you feel so empowered. Because that's like how men see women. When women have different men. It's the same way, sweetie. You lose your value the same way a woman does. We all do. Equally. Because I don't see you anything more than a woman. I see you less. Like a freaking cockroach. When I say a man with insecurities is a huge red flag to me, it's a huge red flag to me. Bullet point number 2. And this was one of my favorites. The reason why I cut it off. Some people confuse dominance and the feeling of being protected with manipulation. Yeah. Okay. What do I mean by that? A lot of us women, we feel that if a man shows us jealousy, we're like, oh my God, that man wants me. That man dies for me. Oh, that's so sexy. That's so hot every time he shows me jealousy. To me, a man shows jealousy and I vomit, okay? I vomit everything that I ate that day. I hate it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, a little bit, but it has to be like 0.00 type of jealousy. This is the one jealousy that I like, that I'm like, okay, maybe this man really isn't to me. When they feel like I'm not giving them enough attention. I'm like, okay, period. You got me. I like it. That's it. Like, they feel like I'm giving my dog or my friends more attention than them. That's the only jealousy right there that I'm like, okay, I'll give you more attention. But let me tell you one thing. If that man shows you jealousy, if you feel that you're protected because this man is always like, perfect example. Let's say you and a man are going out and you're dressed sexy. You put on a red dress because red represents sexy with a little bit of cleavage. You put your nice heels on. You did your makeup. You did your hair. You look fabulous. You posted a little selfie on your story and all of the girls are like, oh my God, girl, T, body T. You look 4+4, 8. You get what I'm saying? And like, you're getting the little likes and all of that. And then you see him and this man is like, oh, you look beautiful. You look so sexy, but I feel like you should change because you might cause me some problems. Or if you sit down and they look at you and they're like, oh, you look like you're going to cause me some problems, insinuating that you need to change. Leave that man. Leave that man. That man is not for you. A man that shows you that type of jealousy is a red flag. I do not care what nobody says. I'm the type of person that I'm like, I pay my bills. I decide what the heck I do with myself, with my body, the way that I dress, the way that I speak. A man like that will always control the way you dress, the way you post on your social media, the way you eat, the way you visit your friends and your family. He will dominate every single thing in your life. Now, I'm not saying let a man show dominance. 1000% show your dominance. But show me that you're secure about yourself. Because dominance can be manipulation. You feeling protected, him making you feel protected, is a form of manipulation in a way. Like I said, it's not always that way, but you're going to see it with a little bit of insecurity sprinkle. I'm saying all of that because I'm the type of person, and I make it very clear when I'm dating someone, you're never going to dictate what I wear. You're never going to dictate anything in my life. I will accept your opinion. But you to tell me to go back to my closet, choose something else and change because you don't feel comfortable the way that I'm dressed or because you feel like I'm going to give you a problem, that seems like a you problem, not like a me problem. I'm not changing. I chose what I chose and that's it. Period. I know it's like, it sounds a little tricky what I just said. I don't know how to explain it, but when I was thinking about it, I was like, dude, because I've gone through it so many times where I've dated men and I felt protected with them and I felt their dominance. And I love a dominant man. I do. I really, really, really do love a man that's dominant. But there's levels to a man being dominant. There's a level where you're like, okay, like you're being protective of me. You're taking care of me. You're being a man. But there's another level and an ugly side of dominance and of you feeling protected that turns into manipulation. And that's just not the way that it should be. Because they will always try to manipulate every single thing in your life. And unfortunately, those are the type of men that will push you away from your family and your friends. And they're like, oh no, sweetie, I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for you. No, you're doing it for yourself because you feel insecure about yourself. Because you feel like you can't truly trust me. You knew that I was never causing you a problem. You just wanted to make sure that you knew how to manipulate me. And that's a no. Third bullet point. They're always flaunting their money and their career on a first date. I've had men like that. I get it, you're successful. But you don't need to flaunt your money. You know, like show off your money all the time. Like tell me all the things that you have. All the things that you own. Those are the type of men that are cheap. And what do I mean by that? I don't mean go be a gold digger. No, don't be a gold digger. No. But those are the type of men that will buy you something and will always rub it in your face on what they got you. Keep it. I don't need it. I don't want it. Whatever you give me is because you want to give me. It's not because I made you. It's not because I asked you. It's not because of anything. It's because you wanted to give to me, sweetie. And one thing that I hate, and I guess it's being raised in a Hispanic household and being raised by my father, he would always tell me, don't accept gifts. Don't ask for favors because people expect them in return. When I was little, I never understood what he meant by that until I dated someone like that. That if he gave a gift, he expected a gift back. If we argued and we broke up, I had to give him everything that he gave me. If we went to eat, it was always rubbed in my face how much money he spent on me that night. So, no, I'm not trying to say to be a gold digger, but it freaking sucks to date someone and have them rub in your face everything that they spent on you. Are you arguing with them? Are you breaking up for a second and having to return? And it's like a return, give them back everything that they bought you, and then they give you back everything that they got you once you guys got back together. Almost like a punishment. I did that when I was young. I'm not going to do that now. Sorry, not sorry. Bullet point number 4. Being disrespectful to others like a waitress or a waiter. I went on a date. A first date. Everything was fine. Everything was perfect. The conversation was flowing. I was like, you know what? I might go on a second date with this man. But guess what? He was disgustingly rude to the waitress when she came and brought the bill. She brought the bill and she's like, oh, just let me know when you're ready. This man went like this. Like this. With an ugly face. I gave him the same ugly face back. Because the same way that you're treating that person is the same way that they'll treat you. When they're upset, they're not going to be the type of person to face a situation and speak to you, communicate. They're just going to... I cut him off. Okay, after that first date, that man, he walked me to my car. He tries to give me a kiss and I was like, hell no. To the no. First off, then he's like, oh, you're the type of girl that I want to make my girlfriend. I want to get to know you more. And I said, not today, not tomorrow, not ever again in your life. Goodbye. I said, I'm not ready for a relationship. Goodbye. And I shipped him off. Never spoke to him again. Okay. Bullet point number 5. Okay. Speaking negatively about women, especially their exes. I feel like a lot of us know this. Like if a man speaks negatively or a person speaks negatively about their ex, there's most likely an issue with them, right? My favorite phrase that men have told me is, I usually break up with women first. And I've been told, I'm the best a woman has ever had in their life. That's why women die for me. Ew. Cringe. I'm sorry, I didn't know I was dating a bitch. Oh, wait, that rhymed. Clock it. It's a no. Don't date them. I dated a guy. This is one of the same guys that I mentioned before. He had so many red flags. I overlooked every single red flag. I feel like he probably makes up most of this list. I'm not even gonna lie. Because that man was a walking red flag on the first date. And I still overlooked all of his red flags because I was like, maybe he's the one for me. Girl. Definitely not. That man, well, I went on a first date with another guy like that. It was funny because the second guy that I went on a date with, I saw a lot of resemblance from the first guy. And they both said the same things. Oh, I break up with women first. Like I this and that. The problem with that, when you have an issue, when you come to that stage in your relationship with that person that, you know, you're going to have your downs. You're going to have misunderstandings. You're going to argue. Obviously, it's not an argument where you should be raising your voice, but there's going to be disagreements for sure. That man is not going to address the situation. They're most likely, because this is what happened to me, they blocked me. They wouldn't speak to me every time I brought the situation up again so we could fix the problem. They ignored it. And it was like, you're labeled as the crazy one, but it's never them. Even though it's a pretty evident situation. It's an evident problem that needs to be fixed between us both. That could just simply be spoken about, fixed, and move on from it. But why isn't it fixed? Because they're not man enough to actually face a problem. Because they're used to just running away from problems and they're just used to blocking people. Why would you want a man like that? That just runs away after an argument, after an issue, after a problem. Not worth it. Not worth it at all. That's the type of person that you need to leave in the back. Over there. Number 7, if they show you inconsistency. And I know what you're going to say. Oh yeah, if a man shows me inconsistency through text or through calls or FaceTime, I will not speak to him again. No. If they show you inconsistency within themselves, why are you speaking to that man? Because why do you have more discipline and more consistency than that man? The way, whatever they're showing you is how they're going to be with you. Perfect example. A man only posts a gym pic once a year. Okay? I dated a man like that. That's why I'm giving you that example. They're not going to show up for you whenever you go through a tragedy, whenever you have a problem, whenever you have any sort of situation in your life. They're not going to show up for you because they don't show up for themselves. Why do you want a man like that? Inconsistent. Yes, they can show you through text, through calls, perfectly fine. Most of the times, they're showing you inconsistency because they probably have someone else. Okay? I'm not gonna lie. But if they show inconsistency with themselves, no sort of discipline within themselves, there's a bigger problem here, Houston. They're not gonna be there for you. And if you're going to get pregnant with this man, that man's probably going to be out in the clubs, drinking, smoking, not taking care of you, and just doing the same old routine as always, not change, not grow up, still be immature, still think that they're fucking 13 years old. You need a man that's secure, consistent with themselves. And I feel like now for me, one of the main things that I look for in a man is how consistent they are in the gym. If your diet is horrible, so is mine, it's okay. That's fine. But you're showing up every single day to the gym, that to me is attractive. Because it shows me that you show up for yourself, that you take care of yourself, that you prioritize yourself, that you love yourself. A man that goes to the club all the time, smokes hookah, smokes weed, and have multiple women, and all you see in their story is a bunch of women and just them in a club. Yeah, you could keep that. I've dated men like that. I don't want them in my life. Goodbye. They will not show up for you. They will not be there for you. Because let me tell you one thing. When my cousin died, those men that were inconsistent, not only in text messages, but even in their personal life, they were inconsistent with me. Nobody showed up for me. Nobody. So I'm sitting here dating a man that doesn't even show up for themselves. Why was I even expecting for a man to even show up for me? I'm just saying, don't date him. Like, yes, inconsistent with text messages and calls, get it. But if they're inconsistent with themselves, do not date them. Cut them off. Number 8, emotionally unavailable. I mean, I feel like we all know that. But I fell for a guy that was emotionally unavailable, and I didn't realize that they were emotionally unavailable. And most of the times, they will show you that they're emotionally unavailable. I've learned myself that I am emotionally unavailable because you're actually afraid of being in a relationship and loving someone, and you really feel like you can't love someone. But sometimes you feel like you love someone. In reality, you don't. You don't. Yeah, they're just, yeah. I feel like even me being an emotionally unavailable person, I feel like I can't be there for someone because I'm too selfish to be there for someone. Not like that, but in a relationship wise. Like I can't nurture a relationship and be like, you know what, let me spend this weekend with you and just drive off the sea. No. I'm just saying, I'm being honest. Number 9, if they jump from woman to woman. I'm pretty sure you've already seen women that date men after men, and they usually don't give themselves enough space to actually heal from their last relationship, and then they jump into another relationship. But you feel like they have this lovey-dovey relationship, and in reality, behind the scenes, they actually have this shitty relationship because they never actually truly healed. The same goes for men. If a man jumps from woman to woman, and I don't mean a side chick or whatever, I mean a relationship. If you see them constantly in a relationship, and every relationship you see them in is with a different woman, stay away from that man. Stay away from that man because you're not a therapist and you're not going to be their therapist either. They need to go heal something that they have to heal from their past. Maybe someone cheated on them. Maybe it's something having to do with their childhood. I have no idea. But it is not your job to heal them, just like an emotionally unavailable person. It's not your job. And I know that sometimes we want to stick by them to see if they're going to change their mind. But the unfortunate truth is that they won't. They've already made up their mind, and that's what it is, and that's fine. Don't date a man that jumps from relationships to relationships, because just how he left that previous relationship, he's going to leave your relationship for someone else. And it's just the truth. So save yourself the heartache. I mean, I haven't dated a man that jumps from relationship to relationship. I stop at the emotionally unavailable placehold, because most of the times I've dated men where we've dated for a year and a half, and it just never turned into anything. It never turned into a relationship. I would ask for them to give me a relationship, and then they wanted to give me a relationship when they felt like they were ready for a relationship, but it was already too late because they had already caused all the damage that they caused that year previously. And that's when I was like, you know what, I'm done, and walking out of the relationship. So yeah, with all of that being said, those are my red flags. Most of them probably you have considered as your red flags. I just wanted to get into depth on what I look for in a man, because every time that I tell people that I cut men off after the first date, I'm looked at like I'm crazy. But I feel like I'm not crazy. I feel like I guess you could call me strict, or I love myself a little too much to accept anything less. And any of these red flags that I mentioned, if you accept them after the first date, because they will show you those red flags on the first date, I promise you they're not going to change. I promise you they're not going to be different. I promise you they're going to be like that man that you dated previously. And that's the shitty part of it. Because we always want to believe that people are good and they have good intentions, especially the first few weeks, especially the first month, the second month. They're usually the most beautiful months. But after that, that's when everything starts cracking shells. And you have to know how that person's going to react to certain situations. If they're going to actually face the problem, if they're actually going to communicate, or if they're going to shut down. Why are you going to want to be with a man that's going to shut down, or a woman that's going to shut down after the first argument? Or the first thing that they fall off on is, let's break up. You don't want that. You want a stable, loving relationship and respectful. I had to realize myself that it was never their fault. It was my fault, because they showed me who they were. I just decided to ignore it because I wanted to believe that they were someone better. But the reality is that they were never someone better. They are who they are. And they're not going to change for me. They're not going to change for you. They're not going to change for anyone unless they want to change for themselves. So with all of that being said, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode.